is called Gwar, and it's a troupe of artists and musicians that came together at Virginia Commonwealth University 4 or 5 years ago. Gwar's act incorporates raging metal riffs, spewing fluids, cartoon violence, and pornography, and well, let's just say that these guys go way over the top. Take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sleazy P. Martini, entrepreneur extraordinaire and discoverer of the most amazing cataclysmic rock and roll event of the century. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gwar.
My name is Odrisirangus.
I am this executioner. I am Beefcake the Mighty, and I come in peace.
I am Flattus Maximus. I play guitar.
And I am Simenstra Hyman, and I have come to this planet to love you all to death.
My name is Balsac, the Jaws of Death. That's B-A-L-S-A-C, with umlauts over the A's. I play guitar and also act as the mouthpiece for the band.
You dare to address me without groveling on your hands and knees and ritually disemboweling yourself first?
Down, human! Kill yourself! No!
Don't kill him yet. We need the publicity.
Oh, that's right.
If you are doing this, you are probably already dead by now.
Eons ago, we were the members of an elite group of warriors from the other side of the galaxy. They were called the Scumdogs of the universe.
This mustache it's for you, Lady Liberty.
We owe your network our knowledge of the language, everything between you and pro wrestling.
All those poofy hairbands with a gosh darn hairspray. They put a hole in my roof. The ozone, that is, Antarctica. They are irresponsible. They must be destroyed. This is real.
Serious. We mean it, man.
When I wake up in the morning, I sit down.
Man.
I eat my total cornflakes. I watch Jane Polly, and I look like this, okay?
Come on, let's go to the nearest Burger King. Bye, you guys.
But is it art?
Hello, it's me, Kevin Vonesper, and if you're watching this, you have found the GWARPod. Oh boy, we got a real dinosaur on today. Is it a real dinosaur? Is it the original Flattus Maximus? Well, in a way, we have him. This is going to be a little bit technologically impaired, but we found a workaround, and we're going to talk to the original Scumdog, Flattus Maximus, Dewey Rowell. Oh boy, you guys are already chatting it up in the chat. That's great. You know what? I'm just going to get right to it. Are you guys ready for the GWARPod? All right. Cue theme song.
GWARPod comes from on GWARPod. 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 GWARPod.
Okay, hello Dewey.
Hello.
So I want to explain to everybody that there was some technological problems. So I'm broadcasting a Facebook call that I'm having with him in a different window into my usual streaming platform. So it's gonna be a little weird, but you know what? It's better than nothing, right, everybody? And you can hear me. Everything's good?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. How are you? Hello, Dewey. Do people call you Dewey anymore?
Yeah, that's my name, brother. That's what everybody's always called me.
You know what?
Unless I'm talking to like somebody at the bank, or then I use my first name. But
Right.
everybody in Gwar, everybody in anywhere, I guess, always calls me Dewey.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for doing this. For people out there, he's not going to be able to see any of my cool slides and videos, so we'll just have to describe what's happening to him. Let's see who's here in the chat. We got Cliff. Is Cliff here? What's up, dude? John
What's up, Cliff?
Poppy.
Hey, man.
Who is this? Jimmy Maha. See, it's making my program run a little slow too, so let me know out there in the chat if everything looks smooth to you. Cliff said his beard is still tinted purple from the Friday the 13th show. Okay, yes, I have to address this. I missed the Gwar show in New York City. I had a family function, and let's see, what's the news? So I don't know if you know about this. There's a new Maximus character called Flattus Maximus. Do you know about this?
Yeah, I saw a thing on YouTube about it. A little short.
Yeah, let me see if I can show a picture for the audience. Lizzie. Uh-oh. Oh, sorry, I lost him for a moment, but I gotta show you this picture. Here is Lizzie Hale as Clitoris Maximus in New York City this past weekend. Very cool. I don't know if anyone knows what those shoulder pads were originally used for. I'd love to know. Okay, enough of the Clitoris Maximus. Back to the Flattus Maximus. You know, I was gonna do some Gwar news at the beginning, but I forgot. I was so flustered with this technological difficulties. You want to go through the news with me, Dewey?
Why not? Go for it.
You said, sure, man. Why not? Sorry, I was resharing your screen here. Okay, let me see here, because it goes along with my flow. Do you watch horror movies these days?
Sure.
There's a new one out on Shudder called VHS 85. Yeah, well, apparently Gwar's in it. Did you see that? Can you guys in the audience, you guys, can you still hear him when he's not on the screen like this? Let me know, because this is like a whole new thing. Yeah, apparently there is. I haven't watched this yet. But apparently there is clips from the PB Kelly show from 1985 stuck in the middle there somewhere. Wow. I know, right? Were you at any of those early Gwar shows?
Yeah, actually, I was like, I did pyrotechnics for, I think, one of the first shows they ever did at Rockets.
Oh,
and
wow.
Near about blew the person up. Dave, he lit it. He had some kind of pentagram made out of popsicle sticks that he set on fire with like a bottle rocket in it, so it would shoot sparks out. And I'd made this concoction in a pot. It was like a flash pot, and boy, did it flash! Never about blew Dave's head off. Man, it was filled the whole place with smoke. It was crazy. But yeah, I've been connected with those guys since. Dave was in Death Piggy. Right. I was in a band called White Cross, and then Unseen Force after that. And after Unseen Force broke up, we went to California and broke up and came back home. That's when Dave and the other guys in Gwar had been having a little bit of difficulty with getting the natives, alternatives, played as the Gwar band for a long time, but they wanted to be the alternatives, so they needed a new drummer.
They had a record contract.
Yeah, man.
They were on SST. They were doing shit. They were like, Gwar's holding us back, man.
Yeah, so that's when they said, look, man, we need people. And that's when Beefcake and me and Rob Mosby, Steve Douglas, all of us got sucked into that not the first iteration, but actually the first people who put an album together. We went to New York and recorded the first album, Hello with Kramer, and that was, that was pretty much the beginning of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig deeper into all of that soon. Let me finish the news, and then we're gonna get back to all of that. The ex-cops are back. Did you guys see the X-Cops? They played their first show in I don't know how many years, many years. Well, I guess they did some Guarbarbecues, but they're back on tour. Has anybody checked it out? There's an Instagram. There's some of the characters have Instagrams now. The record will be out apparently on Black Friday, or is it Record Store Day, or is it both? I'm not sure. I didn't actually get the date, but it's coming out. So I think it's a red vinyl. That should be cool. They are currently on tour. Where are they tonight? They're in Cincinnati, Ohio, Gwar, on the Age of Imbeciles tour with X-Cops and Negative Approach and Cancer Christ. So if you're in Cincinnati, hopefully you're watching this afterwards. Oh, and this is the news for me. And this is going to lead into my whole conversation. I'm going back on tour for a couple days, starting tomorrow with Green Jelly. Kevin the Dinosaur will be back in a couple shows in Pennsylvania. If you're in the area, go check it out. You can hit me up for details. What do you remember do you remember Green Jelly back in the day?
I love Green Jello, man. They were Jello then,
Right,
but yeah, those guys were awesome. They were so much fun, and we were just like stuck together like puzzle pieces. It was cool hanging out with those guys.
Yeah, I am member 237 of Green Jelly.
Cool, man.
Which sounds funny and impressive, but there's actually over 1,000 of us now.
Wow.
So I'm like an old school member, even though I joined in like 2008, which is not very old school for them.
God!
Yep, I'll be playing that tomorrow. I found.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know what it is. It's like this tiny 4-stringed instrument from Brazil that I'm gonna play. I don't know what it's called, but I found it, and I'm gonna play it.
Cool, man.
Yeah. So if you catch Kevin the Dinosaur on tour, come say hello.
That's a good gig, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, because what he does now is he just has all these members all over the place. So if he books a show and you're part of the band, you just kind of show up and do the show. Wow. So it's a different band every night, basically.
That's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
very creative fellow, man.
I'm feeling adventurous, so I got my Gwar smash tonight. Do you know anything about these, Dewey?
No, I've heard that guys are selling liquor. They got the Gwar bar. I still talk to them every once in a while, but I don't know a whole lot about what they're doing. I know they're supposed to be sending me money, but they hadn't since before.
I don't have your money. I don't have it.
When the pandemic hit, they everything kind of got jacked up, and they weren't able to pay any royalties out. But say la vie. I'm not too worried about any of that mess. But,
hopefully it's coming.
Yeah, someday. Just get me in trouble with the IRS anyway.
Yeah, I know, right? So I'm going on tour. It's only going to be for like 2 nights, 2 maybe 3 nights. So it's not like super intense. But when you were touring back then, what were your essential items that you have to bring with you?
Oh man. I don't know. I always carried a fanny pack with everything in it that I needed, and then
that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Everything else was in my guitar case, and my anvil case was like the fanny pack and an anvil case. That anvil case had everything essential in it for me. Being a guitar player,
right?
You have to have it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go back to the early days. Are you from Richmond originally?
Most of my life I lived in Richmond. I'm from a town just south in North Carolina called Roanoke Rapids, is where I was born. Gaston, Roanoke Rapids. And my family moved to Richmond in 1970, and lived there ever since, except for till when I left Richmond and ended up where I'm at now.
Gotcha. And was White Cross your first band there?
Well, yeah, the first real band that I ever played in. I used to jam. I don't know if you know Joel Benson.
No, maybe should I know him?
He's a bass player for White Cross after me. He played bass for White Cross. He also went out to LA and played in some glam metal bands and some metal bands. out in LA for a while and came back. But yeah, me and him got together when we were kids in high school and stuff, and we're, you know, just jamming. And I used to jam with Mosby, the first, second drummer.
Yeah,
of
he's
Gwar.
somewhere there in the dim times.
Yeah,
He did
Mosby,
the album, right? Hello?
Yeah, me and Mosby were pretty tight because we lived right next door to each other out in the west end of Richmond. And we actually got recruited into Gwar together at the same time.
Right.
And because, you know, we had been together in White Cross. And then when I left White Cross is when I met Greta and ended up moving to Pennsylvania for a while and came back.
Oh, so here, there's our Pennsylvania connection. I'll be there all weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of Pennsylvania connections, but I lived at State College for a little while and it sucked ass. So we moved back to Richmond, and that's when Unseen Force happened.
Well, you know what? I had some videos lined up, but good thing I have my old school ass props here.
There you go.
I got this, and then I more recently got this on CD. It's got some
Wow.
bonus stuff on it. 33 tracks.
Very
You know
cool.
about this?
No.
Yeah, it's got the whole In Search of the Truth, a live show soundboard, although it's kind of rough. It's still like pretty cool archive material.
Huh.
And then it's
I think I heard something a while back about them putting that out. They let me know through the grapevine or something. I've had a few health scares in the past few years, and actually almost died a while back. But you know, I made it through it. Minus all the toes on my left foot were amputated. But then I went back to the hospital again after that and had like a blood clot, and almost died again. So
oh my God.
Two hospital stints and then a month in a rehab nursing home after each one of those things in the past, 10 or so years was pretty tough. But yeah.
So I guess I have to, well, I was going to say this has the other tracks on this is the demo from 2000 Maniacs. Were you in that band too or no?
That was Greta's band.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you think, I guess we'll just lead on this conversation. Do you think any of those health problems stemmed from being in Gwar at all?
No, probably not. I mean, it's diabetes type 2, and I've always kind of struggled with weight my whole life. And I was working really hard when my job when I wasn't in Gwar was doing construction work, and I did a lot of heavy construction work, lifting heavy sheetrock and hanging it by myself, with other people too, but a lot by myself. And I think I just put my body through so much that and a combination of drinking too much sugared pop and I let my just diet get out of control. It kind of led to the diabetes thing. When I was in Gwar, I was pretty healthy. I was actually a vegetarian. That's kind of where Flattus came from.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, I heard you were was it vegetarian or vegan?
Vegetarian. I was never been a vegan, brother. I don't think I could ever do that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm not. I can't claim it. I was going to ask about, like, I know I can't represent the vegetarian crowd, but was it harder to find places to eat, like, on tour back then?
Yeah, sometimes. Heck, except for when we went to Europe and they were feeding us cucumber and mayonnaise sandwiches and stuff. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is our deli tray in the dressing room. They fed us some weird food in Europe. Some places were really great.
Would you say that this deli tray is unacceptable?
Yes.
I had to, right? You had to do it. I heard.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah, right. So you said this led to the Flattus character. I heard that as well. I wanted to confirm that.
Right.
How do you say this nicely? Certain bodily odors were very.
I ate a lot of beans and I ate a lot of tofu, and that stuff is a main contributor of fueling the intestinal area and producing lots of gas. And then you put garlic on top of that.
Oh man!
And some other seasonings which are good going in, but coming out, man, they're pretty toxic. And actually, Greta helped me come up with the name Flattus because I used to just burn her out of bed. Unfortunately, I still torture my wife today
Mhm.
with the same issues sometimes. But some things never change, man. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, so how much control did you have over the character, and how
Well,
did
over
that
the
come out?
costume, I had my input. The name of the character, the creation of the character was like I said, mine, and Greta came
Mhm.
up with helped me come up with the name, and then everything was just kind of put in a bucket and stirred around in the beginning of Gwar, and you kind of tell them what fit right as a costume. Like have you seen me with the helmet with the big
Yeah,
horns?
I would show some pictures, but we
I
can't really
hated
see them
that
right
thing
now.
so much.
Yeah?
After the first song, that sucker was off because
Oh,
it
the
weighed.
hat, right?
Yeah, man, it
Yeah.
weighed about 50 pounds, and those horns would always get hung and stuff, and like people would be running by whipping hoses and
Mhm.
get wrapped around your horn and jerk your head while you're right in the middle of trying to play. And it was terrible. So I pitched that helmet off. That's why a lot of times you'll see it was just the wig with the long matted hair
Mhm.
was my thing, because I hated that helmet. But they've worked to try
Yeah.
to make costumes comfortable and where you could move and maneuver your guitar and move around on stage without getting hung up too bad.
Mhm.
Going from plug-in guitar cords to wireless mics on the guitars, transmitters, that
Mhm.
helped a lot too, because then you weren't tied to a cable.
Right. Yeah, well, by the time Dogs came along, you didn't really have the helmet anymore, right? They kind of worked that out of the
No,
costume.
yeah, that was pretty much just the hair at that point, and then it more developed into those giant dinosaur shoulder pads, and the knee pads and stuff were the main thing. I needed to keep the middle of my body. Like
Mhm.
some of the guys, like that breastplate Beefcake
Yeah.
wore, dude, I could have never done that. My guitar would have been like see-through because I'd have eaten a hole through the back of it.
Right.
Just wiggle around and move around so much. I don't know how he didn't destroy his bass he might have, but I just
No, he
plus I
still
like
has that bass. He still uses it, actually.
yeah,
That Steinberger? Holy shit. Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen him play it on stage, actually.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have the meat on it anymore, but I think it's the same exact guitar.
Could be, could be.
Yeah. Do you have any, I know this is before Gwar, but like, you guys used to play with Death Piggy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any cool Death Piggy stories? I know everyone always
Oh
has like
man,
some weird Death Piggy stories.
love those guys, man. I miss Dave a lot. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was the greatest. But we used to love Death Piggy. They would be at the playing a show, man. Dave, the thing that I remember probably more than anything else, that guy, he took a microphone and would destroy it, bashing it into his head. I mean, literally, the sound men hated him. They
Mhm.
would give him the shittiest microphone that they could because they knew that he was going to have that thing in pieces by the time they finished the set. But I'll never forget him just wreck a Shure microphone with the round
Mhm.
metal ball on it. And that guy had a hard head because he beat that thing on his forehead until it would crumble into pieces. And that was awesome. He was a hell of a performer.
Yeah, did you ever have to follow that?
Yeah, speaking about making messes on stage, they did that crap too. Yeah,
Yeah.
they love doing that kind of weird shit. Filling the bag up with cat shit and candy and money and
Were you
throwing.
at that show? I heard about that.
I don't know. I might have been. I
Yeah.
think that was one of Benny's shows at the Benny shows, and Benny's was the coolest little bar ever. But I wasn't even about that kind of foolish since back then. I was probably outside hanging out. Well,
Mhm.
but they did some wild shit. And Dave is a character for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about Dave as we go along. Is it true that you were also straight edge? I heard you were straight edge.
Yeah, I quit doing drinking and doing everything for a while.
Oh, so you were doing it first and then you became straight edge. Was it like a
Yeah, when I
hardcore
was
punk
playing
rock
in White
influence
Cross,
or?
I was hard into some hardcore things. I'll
Mhm.
not go into the
Sure.
details of it, but yeah, I was pretty bad into it, and yeah, that's some stuff that this touchy stuff. And
Sure.
when I got into Unseen Force, it kind of started veering out of that lifestyle and getting a little bit healthier, with the vegetarian diet and trying to, not destroy myself so much. And then when I got into Gwar, it was like, yeah, I'll take care of myself. And then we went to tour in Europe, and we were in Amsterdam, and I thought it would be a fun idea to drink some hash.
Drinking
some tea.
hash.
So I made some tea with a piece, because they went to the hash bars and people were smoking and drinking the coffee. This is the thing about coffee in Amsterdam. They give it to you in a bowl, like a soup bowl, and you drink it and you think, man, that's a good cup of coffee. But no, this shit makes the back of your head feel like it's coming floating about 18 inches above your head after you finish the coffee. And you're like, damn, that's some good shit right there. And I drank this potion that I made because I had some hash that I got that I was going to give to friends who smoke. And I decided to mix it in this tea, drink it, and then eat the residue. And man, I got so high I couldn't.
Hopefully this was after the show, right?
Yeah, I was just like tripping balls, dude. It was terrible. So I kind of eased up back off of getting high and stuff again. But yeah.
I'm guessing you were the only like straight edge member of Gwar at the time, right?
I don't know. I don't think Beefcake did a whole. He drank some and stuff. That Mosby definitely wasn't. Steve Douglas wasn't. All those guys. Dave was always full tilt. They love the party. And, I remember some stuff that happened to us. To Danielle when we were out in California one time. This guy knew somebody who was a professor who made LSD, had these vials, and he was giving everybody some. When he got to Danielle, he squirted the whole thing into her mouth, and we found some woman found her the next day wandering around half naked and brought her back to the place that we were staying. Thank God nothing happened to her, I don't think, but that was pretty dirty, and that shit pissed me off, that somebody would do that to her. But she was a wild woman too. She liked to party as well. So
I'm hoping to have her on the show at some point. She's a busy lady. I have talked to her on the phone about it, so hopefully it'll happen at some point. But
she's super cool, man, and creative. I hadn't talked to her in a long time, but I'm sure she's still kicking it right in the ass.
Yeah, she's making lots of Hollywood props and stuff all the time.
Yeah,
she's always busy.
She's always great with the art and the creation of costumes and her own, and helping other people. And we were pretty tight too when we were on tour. It was like just hanging out sometimes, and you get tight with some people and a little less tight with others.
Oh yeah, it's an interesting. I've had a limited experience touring, but I did have that tour bus experience once, and man, you are cramped in there. It's like
that touring on that original Gwar bus. I can tell you some shit about that, man.
Dewey, tell me some shit about that.
Oh man,
I heard you were the designated driver.
Sometimes I was. I also prayed and begged God not to let us die in a flaming bus crash as we were screaming down a mountain in Washington State with no drive shaft because it had fallen out from underneath the bus and hit the highway and exploded.
Whoa.
And the only thing that would stop us was the brakes. And if they'd have given out, we'd probably all be dead. But we managed to slow down and stop. And then there was a time that Scott Crawl was driving, and we were coming up on the New Jersey Turnpike where you pay the tolls, and he was flying, and the traffic was setting still, and he almost like crashed into the New Jersey Turnpike.
Oh man!
And it was just some crazy stuff, man. And then there was a time we were going across Canada in a blizzard, and you couldn't see the road, you couldn't see the tire tracks for the car in front of you because it had been so long since they'd gone. And I think Chuck was driving, the Sexecutioner, and dude, he was like just into it, man. We could have been driving in the middle of a field heading towards Saskatchewan or some, and wouldn't have never known the difference because you couldn't see if you were on the road. So, you know, just stuff like that. And then I was also the mechanic.
Right. I heard you built some of the stuff in the bus too, right?
Yeah, we built all the racks, the bunks, and
So like you and Dave Muscle?
Yep. Dave Muscle was an awesome engineer.
I really want to talk to that guy.
Dave was the greatest, man. I don't know, but if he's still out in the Midwest or not.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think I found him, but I don't think he's ever responded to me or seen my messages. So if anyone out there is talking to Dave Muscle, let him know I'm looking for him.
You didn't see a lot in Gwar, but you heard him every show because he was a synthesizer guy.
Yeah, and the sampler and everything.
And he was like the heartbeat, the soul of like producing, making things, and like the bus, making it work. You know, he was like an engineer that just, you know, it doesn't get a lot of recognition, but man, Gwar wouldn't have been shit without him.
I would like to recognize you, Dave Muscle. So talk to me. I heard he wore your hat after you stopped wearing it.
I might have.
And like, no, I think after you were out of the band, I think he adopted that. But like, he wasn't really on stage. I think he was still at the sound booth most of the time. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
I guess we should talk about, let's see. What are your memories about Hello?
Oh, Hello.
I live in New York, so I love New York stories.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of fun, man. But going up there and making that album with Kramer, it was.
Were you a fan of Shimmy Disc and like his?
Did it really rapidly and but the way they worked it, and then it was just so punk rock too. You know, that was before Gwar actually started diving more into the metal.
Right.
And we were a hardcore punk rock band.
Yeah.
With costumes. And, you know, the metal kind of filtered into it through different stuff. But, you know.
Did you explore New York? I know some of them went out in the costumes.
I've always explored New York with every band I ever went there with. That I've had guitars stolen from out of vehicles in New York, and had the show. We played one of the shows that we played at the Pyramid Club. I
have that in my notes. I want pyramid stories because I used to hang out there a lot.
We got naked and played a show, played a couple songs at the Pyramid. And thought
That's
that
what
was
I heard.
Great.
So
completely naked, all of us. I think.
I heard everyone was tripping, but were you tripping?
No,
were just
I
naked?
wasn't tripping, but I got naked and played on stage. And thank God I had the guitar hanging in just the right place.
Right. Man, I spent a lot of my 20s at that club, so
yeah.
But it's not like a music. Well, I think it's a music venue again now. It's reopened under a different name, but for many years it was just kind of like a dance club. They didn't really have bands anymore, so I kind of missed that era of it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was such a tiny little place too. Like, I mean, even CBGB's was like a tiny little club when you think about
it. Did Gwar play at CB's?
Dude, I don't think we ever did play at CBGB's.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
You played at the Limelight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, how was that place? That place has quite a history as well.
Big, and I think the sound was awful because they didn't.
Because we didn't get church.
Right kind of sound check and just the equipment. But I think we had to play using somebody else's guitar amps and stuff. And it was just something. I don't think that show went very well as far as.
Gotcha.
The musicians being satisfied with it. You know, sometimes when you played a gig, you were like, that's it. You know, even if it was in the middle of a cornfield in Kansas, which there's a club.
The Outhouse?
Yep.
Yeah.
The White Cross, one of the best shows I ever played with those guys.
Oh, tell me about that.
It was just awesome. Just playing for a bunch of enthusiastic punk rock kids in the middle of a freaking cornfield. And literally like a stone cinder block outhouse. It was like a brick shit house, man. And I just loved my bass guitar. I had a Fender Jazz bass and a Gallion Kruger head. Actually, that got passed down to Greta. and two. I think there were two 12-inch EV speakers, and I just cranked that sucker up. And at the end of the show, it was just the sounds, the feedback and stuff that I was getting out of the bass. And the only thing I used for distortion was like a rat pedal. And then I had that thing screaming and humming and making all kinds of crazy noises, and people were just having the best times, stage diving and slamming, just jumping around crazy. It was just one of those shows you're like, that was awesome, man. You feel really good after you play a good show like that.
So did you do a lot of touring in White Cross and Unseen Force before Gwar happened?
We did a White Cross pretty much did the same thing that Unseen Force did, went to California and kind of broke up and came home. So the first half of the tour was okay, but then you get out to California and the gigs kind of like dried up, and you know, there was just nothing set up, so the ride home was a major disappointment kind of deal, you know.
I have a California question, and I have a prop for it, so I don't have to open my slideshow for it.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen this issue of Flipside with Jesus Lizard on the cover, but I wanted to ask you about a picture here. Oh my God, I think it's this one. No, it's the other one. Hold on.
Maximum Rock and Roll.
Right. No, I don't have that one. Oh, I got the wrong Flipside out. It's this one with Fugazi on the cover.
Okay.
Okay. And I have this for a different reason, which I will reveal shortly. But I don't know if you're aware of this picture here. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Yeah.
That's you and Dookie Flyswatter.
Yeah.
And let's see, someone from the Serial Killers as well. And yeah, at Raji's. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
Hollywood.
Were you living in LA at the time?
No. We just hanging out there.
Nice.
You know.
So
yeah.
I'm making a documentary about Dookie Flyswatter and Haunted Garage. So that's how I came across this. Do you have any Dookie Flyswatter Haunted Garage stories for me?
No, not really.
Not really.
Yeah, just hanging out, man.
Yeah.
We hung out with so many different people. You know, that's one of the. You know, there's a lot of things about Gwar that I don't miss. But
tell me about what you don't miss.
Nah. Well, you know, I think kind of I made myself a promise when I started playing that if it wasn't fun anymore, that I wouldn't want to do it, and also that it got to the point where some of the props and skits were grinding on my morality, my own personal beliefs, and you know, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't feel like I wanted to be a part of that anymore.
Gotcha. So was Gwar like got too offensive for you, or?
Yeah. So some of the things were pretty abrasive. I mean, I understand the satire and the, you know.
Were you worried that the audience wasn't going to get that?
Have you seen me? Have you seen me, kid? Kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and raping the priest up the ass with the crucifix kind of bugged me out too, because I'm a Christian.
Okay.
And I always have been, even if I wasn't leading a perfect life. I played in Gwar, for goodness sakes, but morally that just wasn't right with me, and I had to leave because I just couldn't live that way. You know, I couldn't confess that in my life. So
it's interesting.
You know, that's just the truth.
So
man,
I guess that's if I'm skipping to why did you leave the band? This is your answer, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. That's pretty much the main part why. And like I said, it wasn't fun. We were working our asses off, and I weren't getting paid shit. And I'd come home and do construction work, and I had built my construction skills up, and pretty much by the time I left Gwar, I had my own business, and I was making tons of money. And I was like, why am I killing myself going out, you know, playing music and not come home and have to work my ass off to pay the bills and stuff. So it kind of kudos to those guys for sticking with it and playing to where they could make a living out of it. But
Right.
it just wasn't happening for me to the point in my life where I said,
Well, that's a lot of mouths to feed in Gwar.
yeah, it is. And, like I said, kudos to them. They've stuck with it. They've,
well,
created something that's amazing. It's art, it's craziness, but they've, put a lot of love and effort into it. And I think, they've done a great job with what they had to work with,
Sure. Well, let me circle back a little bit, because what we skipped is Scumdogs of the Universe, like the most famous Gwar record. How do you what do you remember about doing that record? And I guess forming, like, that core of the band when you guys formed before that record is still what survives today. So
yeah,
part of that original mix that's still there.
Yeah, we had some member changes. Like Brad came on board, Mosby left, Steve Douglas left, and that's
Mike
when Dirks.
Yeah.
Mike Dirks was a great addition, and they were like really important to changing the whole sound of the band. I mean, that Brad Drummond really took us to a whole nother level.
For sure.
And that's with that killer double kick and doing a lot of the meeting up with stuff that we were playing musically. We were all really kind of vibing and in that direction, playing more chunkier metal. And
you wrote a couple of these songs, right? Or co-wrote. Let me see if I'm correct. The Years Without Light, you had a part in that one?
You know what? I don't remember a whole lot on Scumdogs that I wrote. I think most of the songs that I co-wrote with Dave were on Hello.
Yeah.
Like I'm in Love with the Dead Dog, and a couple other
Jacques
tunes.
Cousteau, I think.
Yeah.
Let me see. Were those left over from other bands or anything, or how?
No, they were Gwar jamming,
the
right?
Arctic Snow?
Having riffs and making up songs. And
Captain Crunch, right?
Captain Crunch was my song. Yeah,
that's one of my favorites. I mean, I love what they ended up doing with it later. I don't know if you've heard like how it developed over the years, but they really transformed.
I don't think I've heard a different version of it other than the Hello version. But
I mean, even like maybe the tour or two after you left, like they were playing that song and it was like super chunky. It was just, I don't know, just playing that song with Brad and Dirks and all those guys. It sounds, they took your song and they made it like really shine. I feel like
it's a Gwar song. I mean, that's kind of the thing about being in a band like that. When you're writing music, it's everybody pushing together and rubbing against each other, doing things you like, doing things you don't like, and till you finally hit somewhere in the middle and you've created something that's everybody's like, yeah, that's good. Let's put it on a record.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Like I said, towards the end there, before the next album after that came out, is like I said, my heart had kind of gone out of it, so I wasn't even putting input into writing anymore. And I was kind of growing my own separate way away from the band. So that America Must Be Destroyed, I think, was the next record after Scumdogs.
Well, I think you wrote some of that. Oh, I heard you wrote part of Cracking the Egg and maybe Gorgor.
Yeah, but Gorgor was old. Gorgor was alternatives. Yeah, that song came from the very beginning.
I think Cracking the Egg, at least, right?
But yeah, I mean, it just that's Beefcake and Dirks and Dave were doing, and Brad were hammering all that. And Dirks put in a lot of great stuff leading in that new direction. He's really a talented musician.
Yeah, for sure.
Some really cool guitar stuff that it's not, isn't just not generic stuff. He was like really into doing creative stuff. And that's the thing about Captain Crunch and I'm in Love with the Dead Dog too. The kind of weird, I don't even know how to describe it anymore. But that song was kind of inspired by Voivod. You know, we were
They just
listening
toured
to
with
those
them
guys.
recently, I believe, too.
And those guys, man, they were awesome. I loved them when they first came out, and just all the other music that was like popping out on this hardcore and punk metal scene. Then we just like listened to all kinds of shit and just tried to think of something cool, you know, and make it happen.
Did you have any interactions with Al Jorgensen?
Oh yeah, I remember Alan. We hung out with him when we were in Chicago, and he came to Richmond, and I think
he mixed one of the songs, "Horror of Yig."
Yeah. Well, I think I can't really remember a whole lot about that, but like a lot of times when we would go places, I would go somewhere else. Some guys would be doing stuff, and you know, in the studio, sometimes you're just so exhausted you leave, and the days blend into each other, and you know, hell, I'm an old man now. My memory's starting to go out. I can
That's why
remember
we got
a
to
lot
do
of
this
stuff.
now.
Yeah, I can't remember everything, but I remember quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the studio is a lot more boring than people think it is. It's not a party; it's work, you know. Did you check out the remastered version of Scumdogs of the Universe from a couple of years ago?
No, I haven't heard that yet.
Oh my
I should check
god,
that out.
it's wonderful. They remixed and remastered the whole thing. They finally put out the extended King Queen that was like originally 8 minutes long or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah, it's all there now. Do you remember recording all that stuff and then it getting cut out of the album?
No, not
No,
really.
yeah, they cut that song in half.
Wow.
Yeah. That's great.
But that's cool. I should check that out.
You should check it out. Yeah. I mean, do you still revisit this stuff at all? Like, do you enjoy listening to it?
Yeah, sometimes, you know, listen on YouTube every once in a while. I'll put a Gwar song on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
let me catch up with the chat here. Let me see what people are asking.
Okay.
So I've been talking to you and kind of ignoring my chat guys here. Let's see. I think they're just talking to each other mostly. My program's going a little slow because I'm using a lot of things happening right now. Dewey, someone said Dewey. Oh yes, Vinny's here. Maybe I'll see him at one of my green jelly shows coming up, hopefully. Someone was talking about the X-Cops show. Do you know anything about the X-Cops? Were there here's my question, I guess. Were there any side projects that you had talked about with Gwar that maybe never happened, or you know, I know there was a lot of ideas floating around.
No, just ROG was the only thing
sure.
that we did with, you know, without costumes.
Oh,
It was like,
did you have a an alter ego for ROG? Do you
no,
remember your name?
no, just me. We were just, you know, plain clothes, jamming Gwar songs, you know.
I don't think you guys aren't asking any questions. You guys are talking though. That's cool. They're talking about the X-Cops. The X-Cops are back.
Yeah.
And they're playing shows. That's very cool. I
think
really hope I see them.
Dave, man, was so much the X-Cops. That was.
Well, yeah, I think that was most. I think the genesis for that was really Pete Lee, which was the guy who replaced you.
Yeah.
Did you know him at all?
Yeah, I met Pete, and I guess he was like the start of the Gwar curse, where the guitar players that replaced me ended up getting shot or dying. And,
yeah.
Or thank God that's over with. But
I was gonna ask, like, how do you feel about your character being retired? Because, you know, Corey.
Dude, it's up to them, you know. I mean, like I said, I'm just one little blip of history in the band, and you know.
Yeah, but you were in a very integral part, like, of the band, I think, at that time. You know, Scumdogs of the Universe, like, is still hailed as like the go-to Gwar record. I think it always will be.
I think that's because we put our heart and soul into it. Every person
like
involved in it, and that was the thing to do then. And I've always been the type of musician that it wasn't about, you know, being the best at doing anything, but it was about what you pulled from inside yourself and put into the music that you're making that made it special.
I wanted to ask you about the exploding guitar. Was that your idea? How did that come about? At the end of the show?
No, I don't think so.
No, like when your guitar, there's like a.
That wasn't me. My guitar never exploded.
Yes, it did.
No.
Like at the end of Live from Antarctica.
Oh, okay. That's when I'm brain dead.
Oh yeah, it was meant to happen. Like it was definitely planned.
Yeah, I hadn't watched Live from Antarctica in so long.
I thought that was a gag you did maybe at every show, or like the pickup.
No, that was that show. That one show was to make that video to, to put that out. But I'd forgotten all about that.
Oh yeah, well your guitar explodes at the end.
Yeah,
it was very cool. Wow.
Yeah, I still remember that because I was like into the pyrotechnics and stuff, but I guess I wasn't doing that stuff anymore. That was probably Dave Muscle that rigged that thing up, or somebody that, one of the slaves or whatever they'd taken over.
Yeah, because it was like right after.
There were there were all kinds of new people coming into Gwar then too when I left, and right before I left, Matt McGuire and all these other people that were coming in to be in the slave pit to work on costumes and be slaves and other stuff. And, like the original people were Mike Bonner, Scott Crawl, Danny Black, and I know Scott and Bonner. I don't know exactly when Bonner left, but they had
a long while.
Bobby Gorman, of course.
He's still there. He's still doing it.
Yeah, Bobby's he's always in for Gwar 100%.
So wait, was Matt there when you were there, or he came right after?
He came right after I left, I think. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, he was on the show.
And Danny was with him for a while after I left too, and then he got into his little disagreements with him. And
yeah, I've heard about Danny Black.
Yeah, don't believe everything you hear. Danny's a good guy.
Okay.
He did a lot of good stuff for Gwar. He loved Dave Brocky to death.
Yeah, would you recommend I talk to Danny Black? Because I've heard maybe I shouldn't talk to Danny Black.
Well, you know what? Everybody's got a story. That's
true. Yeah.
Pancake, like Dr. Phil says, a pancake, no matter how much you flatten it out, it's always got two sides.
That's true.
So, Danny's got his own story, but,
We got a question from Jeremy Bruner. Dewey, what was your favorite show you played with Gwar? Is there a favorite show?
Yeah, there were some good ones. The one in Hollywood and I think it was Palladium.
Oh, I got stories about that show. That was with Green Jelly and Rollins Band, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was a great show. That Metallica was hanging out backstage. Of course, I'd met Kurt through Deanne, who was our sound person, who we met in San Francisco and became our sound person and went on tour with us to Europe. She knew Kurt Hammett real well, and I was hanging out with her, and he came over to her house driving his Porsche, black Porsche. Totally normal guy, the least type of rock star kind of guy you'd ever meet in the world, and just totally cool. No attitude. Not like some of these bricks that think they're God because they play music in a band, But he was always a real nice guy. And other good dudes in Metallica too were pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know they were at that show. But here's the story I know about that show is so there's this Haunted Garage song called Five Dead Stage Divers, and it was inspired by watching Gwar at that show, and somebody jumped off the column speakers apparently, and I don't know if anybody caught them or something happened. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I kind of remember something about that, busting their head open on it.
Yeah, and he was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a video of that show. There's a bootleg of it. I haven't specifically watched for that moment, but it might be there somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hate to see bad things happen in shows.
Yeah, of course.
People are idiots, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Is there any
people just go a little too far?
Is there any other moments like that come to mind for you?
Oh, hell, man! There were just so many cool shows playing. playing in Europe. We played a festival in Eastern Europe that was kind of cool.
What about
In
being
Holland.
canceled in Europe? Do you remember anything about that controversy, and how did that play out for you?
I wasn't in charge of that stuff, but I don't really remember a whole lot about it. I remember when they confiscated Dave's penis.
Yeah, tell me about that. How was that for
Yeah,
you that
that
night?
was crazy, man. They
That
took
was in
Dave's
Charlotte,
penis away.
right?
Yeah, in a 5-gallon bucket. Oh man, yeah, that was
Were you
insane.
guys like? How did you guys feel that night? Were you guys freaking out? Like Dave went to jail, or were
Yeah,
you
I
guys
was,
kind of laughing about it? Like how was the
uh,
mood?
shit, man. I don't know. I don't think we were too worried about it.
Right.
It was kind of ridiculous that that they would even do that, but that was just part of the course. You never knew it was going to happen sometimes, but never thought anybody would seriously like come and arrest him for a fake penis.
Right. Yeah. It's a fish. Oh.
Yeah, the cuttlefish. Yeah.
Oops, my microphone fell off. Okay, here's a question for you. Did you ever think, oh, let's see if I can reach it without destroying everything? Did you ever expect this to happen? Have you
Oh
seen
Lord,
this?
no.
Have you seen this?
Oh my
This
goodness.
is like the medium size.
Wow.
Yes, this is a real GWAR product you can buy now.
Oh man.
Did you ever think that there would be toys and sex
No.
toys or anything like that?
No. Didn't go there.
It's kind of funny though, right?
They're nuts. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, that's what I forgot. I'll grab it for the end. There's a stuffed animal now.
Really?
Yeah, well, let's see if I can grab it real quick. Here's a question. It'll only take a moment, but while I'm missing from the screen for a moment, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Did you watch the documentary?
No.
Oh man. Well,
No,
I
I
guess
haven't
that's my
seen it
question.
yet. I just heard some stuff about it that
What did you hear about it?
they didn't even mention some people's names and stuff in it.
Like
It was
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I
reviewing
felt
it last night and I was like, they very conveniently edited you out of that one.
Yeah, that's kind of sucky.
Did
And
they
actually,
approach you for it at all?
well, actually, I had talked to Bobby Gorman before,
Mhm.
and he said people were doing stuff and wanted to interview and nobody ever got in touch with me about it. Asked me jack shit, so that was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah,
But
I'm as a video editor, because that's my trade. I imagine because the story is so deep and they only had like an hour and change to tell it. It's like I guess they had to focus on the people that were and still are there.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
Oh man, I'd love to hear what your
just in
take
a
on it
blip.
though.
I was just at a blip in the band, man. Just a little piece of history that
Yeah. Well, here's Little Raspy. I don't know if you keep up with Gwar, but this is a character from their new album and tour. And there's finally a
Okay.
Gwar stuffed animal, and it's this guy.
Aw.
Little Raspy.
I
Yes.
bet you Beefcake's. Have you seen Beefcake's little girl?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, she's probably got one of those. She's
Yeah.
adorable.
But this you can buy. Those you can't buy yet. I would love to have one of those mini Blothars.
Yeah.
Do you keep up with Gwar at all? Like, do you listen to their new records when they come out or anything?
Some of them, yeah. I've heard some songs off of them. I haven't really listened to the whole albums.
I
but
really do recommend the new one. I mean it's
dude, it's hard for me to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, how does it feel for you to look back on that?
Like I said, there's some things I don't miss and some things I do, and
Are you
it's
like,
just
has there been enough space where you can enjoy it again now, like 30 years later?
yeah, probably so.
Because if there was any of those original ingredients that you liked, I feel like it's back because it's it's all Bishop, Dirks and Brad, like they're writing songs together again, and it sounds like it to me.
Yeah, I should probably check some more out more than I have.
Yeah. When When's the last time you saw Gwar live? Or have you seen them at all since you left?
Yeah, I've seen them a couple times, a few
Mhm.
times since I left. I think one time was in West Virginia.
Mhm.
I think it was like it's been a long while, but yeah, they played in somewhere in West Virginia. I was living in Charleston, I think, and I went to see them
Mhm.
play. I can't remember where it was, but yeah, that was cool.
Who? What era was this? Was this when
That was,
Dave was
Dave was
still?
still
Yeah.
Dave was still alive, yeah, and yeah, they were doing good, man. You know, I just it's my life is a lot more complicated now about like
Sure.
having transportation to get around and
Right.
you know health issues and just living so far away from everything. It's just
Mhm.
I just do the best I can do to make it from one day to the next. Some days, you know.
Sure. Do you still
Yeah.
play music at all?
No, unfortunately not. My wife tells me that she's going to get me a guitar and I'm going to play again, but
Yes, get a guitar, write some tunes, man.
don't tell me that. I'll say that.
I always encourage art. I have to. It's part of my
Yeah.
nature.
Well, that's cool. That's a good trait, man. But it hurts, you know.
Mhm. Like
It just
physically or mentally or both.
both
Yeah.
mentally more than anything probably. I don't. My fingers are so daintily soft now that I don't.
Mhm. Well,
I don't think I could even push the string enough.
just tune it down like Geezer did, right?
Yeah, drop D.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
What was it? E flat was the tuning Gwar usually used, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, geez, what kind of, I guess here's for the tech nerds, like what kind of equipment did you use back in the day?
Well, I played SG a lot until it broke, and then I got a Gibson U2 guitar. It was okay, but it was just not the best thing in the world. I wish I'd have had a Les Paul or something, but
Mhm.
they're very heavy, and I probably would have had a hard time. But I love my SG. Played that sucker for a long time, and Marshall amps,
Mhm.
with some kind of effect rack and with all the stuff, like the wireless tuning thing, um, preamp effects, sound modulation, all stuff with a pedal that you could never use because everything got doused in
Right.
spooge and liquid and goopy shit every night. So it was destroyed. So basically, you could only have a few settings to change for
Mhm.
certain specific things that you wanted to
I
be
think they've
different.
gotten better with the blood and the equipment these
Yeah,
days.
that
I think
stuff
they know it. I
ruins
think
some
they've
fun
worked it
stuff.
out. Yeah.
But just yeah, I love Marshalls. I love that. I have JCM 800. I love that thing. And then we had an opportunity to buy new equipment, and then I went to the rack mounted Marshall solid state, and that was
Do
pretty good too. It wasn't bad, but I love that old JCM 800 that I had. That thing was like a screamer.
Do you
That
remember what you used to record Scumdogs of the Universe?
I think it was um, I think it might have been the JCM 800. If I'm not sure, I'm not sure if I had my other Marshalls yet or not.
Mhm.
Because we went up to New York and bought equipment, and I can't remember exactly what we used in the studio when we were recording Scumdogs.
We have a question from Chad. Does Dewey have any original costume pieces or props, or do you have any relics from the past, demo
No,
tapes or anything, old flyers?
dude, I've lost everything I've had so many times. Like like I've had to move and leave everything behind and lost it, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, several times over in my life. I don't want to go into details about.
Sure.
People can pretty much do the math about anything in anybody's life, but all my personal effects, a lot of them I lost when after I left the band, and then I had a period in my life where things kind of fell apart,
Mm-hmm.
and I put a bunch of stuff. Wanted to put it in storage, and my brother went and collected it all to put it in storage, but ended up throwing it all in the garbage.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, everything in the garbage except for what he kept and sold to put some money in his pocket. And unfortunately, he passed away after that, not too long after that, from his own issues. But yeah, I had letters and personal effects from people from all over the country and the world, and a bunch of different stuff. But everything's pretty much gone. You know, it's just like I have to have the attitude that I'm alive today. I have my memories.
Yeah.
And all that stuff is just stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter that much.
Sure. I
And
mean, you had the personal experience, you know, like let us geeky fans collect all the bullshit, right?
Yeah, I had some knee pads and a few pieces of equipment that I had that Gwar was never using anymore, and it's yours. You can take them. And I ended up selling them on eBay. Somebody got those knee pads.
Oh,
But
I
that
wonder
was a
who's.
lot.
Hey, you guys in the chat, is the knee pads? Are they in the Gwar museum anywhere? You know, there's like a collective of fans that just like buy all that.
These were the ones that were made with like baseball, like knee pads, shin guards, and knee pads.
Did it have the dinosaur feet on it?
No, they had bones.
Okay.
Dinosaur feet were sneakers with fur and big toenails back then. That was like the Hello iteration. But they had like a skull on the knee, a skull on each knee, and then bones going across horizontally down to the feet. But yeah,
let's see. I wonder if anyone has that. You know, I gotta
we
get some of those
switched over.
Gwar museum guys on the show.
They were so hard. They were made out of fiberglass and like hard and heavy right before they invented all the foam latex stuff that was soft and squishy. But then that stuff gets soaking wet and ends up being heavy as hell too. But you know, at least you dry it out, and you know, the prop material changed over time. From it's just like doing anything. You learn a better material that's lighter weight, more durable. And you switch from using the hard, heavy, brittle, stuff that's going to break your face if you fall against it, to something that looks like it would poke you, but it's like fluffy and soft.
Right. Jeremy wants to say that Hello is and always will be his favorite album.
Wow. Punk rock, dude.
Hell yeah. And John Poppy wants to know, what was it like being on the Dr. Gruesom's Morgue show? Movie Morgue. Dr. Gruesom's Movie Morgue.
I wasn't on that, man.
Oh. That wasn't you?
I left too right before they did Joan Rivers, Jerry Springer. That was like right before they did that is when I left. The last thing I ever did for Gwar was after I left. I played in the video the contract negotiator getting Gwar to sign contracts. I wore a suit and tie in that video they made right after Scumdogs.
The Phallus in Wonderland?
It might have been that, or America Must Be Destroyed, or whatever. It was a video that they were working on right when I left, and that was the last thing I did, dress up in a suit and a tie and pretend to be a record executive.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a little bit more about the Flattus character. Was it fun playing that character, and what did you bring to it? Because it's funny watching you whenever the little that we do see you speak in interviews and stuff. You're just kind of like, blah.
Yeah, I just try to be goofy.
Yeah.
And always the thing, and which is kind of ironic. I always blacked out a tooth. With, face make with the black makeup, that one particular tooth. And then after I left Gwar, I ended up getting that tooth knocked out by somebody who put a pistol in my face.
Whoa.
And then hit me in the face with the gun. So it was kind of ironic. And, but I just, I tried to be light and funny and, flipping the hair around. And then there was always some assholes that loved grabbing my wig and they pulled my wig off. And I think Trenton, New Jersey, one time that pissed me off.
Was that at what was that place called?
That's when Danzig opened up for Gwar.
Oh yeah, yes. We love Danzig's
The
Gwar stories.
Jersey, what was that
Yeah,
club
yeah.
called?
Oh my
Jersey
God.
Garden, City
City
Shitty Gardens.
the City Gardens, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Tell me about
yeah.
the City Gardens and opening for Danzig.
That was cool.
I
That
heard
was,
people were chanting for Gwar during Danzig's set, and there's a
yeah,
bootleg of that
yeah.
out there too.
They didn't want to go on after us.
Uh-huh.
Nobody. I mean, you know what? Killing Joke opened up for Gwar.
Whoa.
That blew my freaking mind. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. Killing Joke is
Where was
awesome.
that?
I can't remember where it
Yeah.
was. It might have been in Europe or something. I
I
can't
was just
remember
listening to them
exactly.
the
But
other
I was
day.
just blown away that I mean, like, but they didn't want to go on the stage after War got finished because they knew it was going to be wrecked.
Yeah.
Everything's covered in blood and dripping and nasty and it's like slippery and it was like nobody wanted to play after Gwar
Right.
because they made a terrible mess every time they played.
Well, speaking of the Killing Joke connection, do you remember anything about Dave Grohl almost joining the band? Or
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. That was see because I knew the guys. I knew him when he was in Scream.
Right, that's what I figured.
Yeah, that's a way back connection with the Dave Brocky, DC,
Mhm.
White Cross. We played with Scream. They used to come to Richmond and play all
He
the
was
time.
probably like 16
We
years old or
wanted
something,
Dave
right?
Grohl so bad. We were like, "This is the guy, man." And guess what? He was on his way to going out west. He was going
Yeah.
out to Seattle, and he played. We rehearsed with him,
Really?
and
He actually
yeah,
came in once?
yeah, he auditioned and jammed, and it was like we were like, man,
Do you remember what songs you
we
played with him?
won. We wanted. Everybody else wanted him too. He could have been the drummer of Gwar, but look what he passed up Gwar for what he has now. I mean, come
Yeah,
on, man.
who wants that kind of life anyways?
Yeah, really. Now, Dave Grohl's awesome though as a musician. Just the songs he writes, just yeah.
Because I was thinking, I was just listening to that Killing Joke record that he played on the other day, so that's kind of
That dude has so many awesome things. It's
Yeah.
played with so many, Lemmy from Motorhead. I have a Lemmy from Motorhead story
Oh,
too.
tell me the Lemmy from Motorhead story.
After we played the Palladium, we went to the club
With Green Jelly, but they just got to keep
I
adding
think
that
they
in
might
there.
have been with us, but
Well, they played that
it
show.
was at
Yeah.
the Rainbow after the club, and I'd stayed back in LA because I was getting a tattoo. We met a guy who came from Holland. His name was Bernie Luther, but no, Austria, not Holland. He was from Austria, and he was a tattoo artist, and he tattooed Dave and me and a couple other people in the band, and I stayed to get him to tattoo a piece on me after the show and after the band had already left.
Mhm.
And I was going to fly back to Virginia, or I ended up taking a bus. But we went to that club and we're hanging out, and
At the
there's
Rainbow.
Lars,
Mhm.
Lars Ulrich's over there across a couple tables over, sitting there passed out in his pizza.
Oh
He had like
no.
these huge pizzas, not even touched on the table, and he was face down in a pizza because he was so drunk. He passed out and fell into his pizza. And Lemmy came over to our table and said, "Hey man, that guy's a lush." he called Lars a lush, but Lars snapped up to attention like out of nowhere, get up out of the chair, grabbed his keys, and marched right out of there like to grab his car and go home.
That's funny.
Like he went from completely passed out drunk to waking up, grabbing his keys, and thank God he made it home. I guess didn't get a DUI that night, but he was wasted in it. But Lemmy, he was really cool. He knew Bernie, the tattoo guy.
Okay.
And so we ended up hanging out together for a little while. And, it was just a lot of fun.
I know Lemmy saw Gwar at least once and said it was like, I hope he never has to do that much work. Were you there when that happened?
No.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have been. He was a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've only been to the Rainbow once, but I did sneak up to the Hollywood Vampires booth.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell them.
All right.
Let's see. I have a name in here, and maybe you can tell me who he is. Pete Luther. He was a drummer, I think, that you brought into the band for like a couple
Oh,
rehearsals.
Pete. Yeah,
Who's that?
yeah.
I don't know anything about him, so I figured I'd ask
Dude,
you about him.
he played. He was a good drummer, but he just I think he had some issues. Where he kind of went off the rails and just couldn't play.
Oh,
Couldn't.
he was Lee Beto, right? Did he play the character? Do you remember his name is in the band?
No. This is the different guy. But
Okay.
I think he tried him out for drums, but he didn't end up getting the gig. But we got Brad. We didn't get Dewey Rowell, but we got Brad.
You know, Brad's a fucking machine. So
yeah, he is.
That guy's still just killing it.
Yep. Always loved his drumming, man. He's a very good drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded me a lot of Reed Mullins.
Yeah, what's he from?
COC, Corrosion of Conformity.
Okay. Yeah.
He passed away not too many years ago from, I think, alcohol related.
I wonder if I saw him live, because I've seen COC open for Gwar a couple of years ago, actually.
Yeah, it's been a while since he passed away, but yeah, if you ever get a chance to check out any of Reed Mullins, he was a great drummer too, man.
Were there any other bands or shows that you played with it when you were in Gwar that just like was kind of amazing? Like I know, like, or an odd pairing. Like I know you guys played a couple shows with like Operation Ivy and stuff like that.
Yeah, there were so many cool bands.
Yeah.
I think hanging out with like DRI and just all of the hardcore bands from before I was in Gwar, bands like Crucifix, NoFX. And you meet so many people when you do this cross country touring in a van thing that you kind of become like a little network of friends and people, and they stay with you when you go there, and you stay with them when you back and forth, and so you end up meeting and hanging out with a lot of different people and making friends, and that's one of the things I miss too, is like having a lot of different people that I haven't seen in a long time that live faraway places that you don't play, you don't tour anymore, and you don't see them anymore, and a lot of them passed away. So, but yeah, there were a lot of great bands that we had open for us, played with. Man, I off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything. Like I said, other than
Killing Joke. Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
That just blew me away.
Oh, did you have any any other stories about Danzig, the Danzig show?
Oh, Glenn Danzig, he was just like.
Oh, were you? I mean, did you? I know you were in the hardcore scene before that. Like, did you cross paths with the Misfits or Sam Hain at all beforehand?
Never Glenn Danzig. I remember Henry and Black Flag when they came to Richmond and played a show with Rockets. He was doing all this stretching yoga before the show, and his like tight old black spandex short pants he wore with nothing, There's a big Search and Destroy on his back, and he's incredible.
yeah,
that guy's an athlete, man. But
he's pretty built, that dude.
Yeah, and Black Flag did some pretty awesome music too. There's so many cool punk bands and hardcore bands.
Yeah, did you have any other favorite like hardcore bands back in the day, or I don't know what? I guess the next question would be like, what are you listening to these days? Are you still listening to hardcore music at all?
Sometimes, a little bit. I'm very eclectic music. I like a lot of kinds of music. I always have, classical rock, classic rock. A lot of whole hardcore. Some newer stuff, not a whole lot.
Yeah, what's the newer stuff that you like?
Well, there's a band. I think they're a European band that they do a lot of songs about like World War II. They're like a metal band. I can't remember the name of them now, but they do videos of like World War I and II reenactments in them, and they sing these songs. There are a lot of You know,
Were you a history buff into World War II and stuff like
I
Dave
love.
was?
Yeah, I've
You guys must have connected on that then, right?
always loved history. Yeah,
Hmm.
and Dave was big on that too.
Yeah, he was huge on that.
Yeah, he loved history. He always talked about the Battle of Kursk. Think about World War II and big tank battle like in Germany at uh, Bastogne and the Battle of the Bulge. But
Hmm.
like that was nothing compared to Kursk with the Soviets and the Germans. Just the massive, huge, massive tank battles and stuff. And Dave was into all that kind of stuff, playing
Yeah.
war games.
Did you
He
play
loved
the?
it.
Did you? Oh, well, I guess it's a good segue to what we were talking about before the show. Um, did you play all the games with them, like the
Yeah, yeah,
tabletop games
sometimes.
and
I loved
what do
watching
you?
them play.
Yeah.
We would just hang out. We'd come. They used to make this stuff at the slave pit called glop, which is
Mhm.
basically a pot of noodles with everything else thrown into it, cooked until it turns into this gelatinous mass of, food that you can eat. And we would hang out and go to the slave pit and hang out, and they'd have like big tables set up and be playing, war games, Warhammer or
Mhm.
World War II, strategic battle maps out with little things to represent the
Yeah.
different forces and tanks and infantry, artillery. Set up these big tables and play for hours on end.
Hunter told me he hates D&D. He likes only games with little figures. And
Hunter
do you
was
want to
into
do a
that.
do you want to do a show and tell of what you were showing me before?
Yeah, just like I said, it's into building plastic models like 1/35th scale artillery, armored vehicles. This is a German Stug 3. This is supposed to be in a diorama from a Monte Cassino battle in Italy in World War II. This is actually taken, modeled from a photograph and footage of the Germans embedded in the casino rubble during that battle. This is actually a tank that actually existed and took part in that battle. And I'm building a scene with the buildings that are wrecked and that actually would back into and hide, and then would pull out, shoot a couple of times at the Americans, and then I build the American Sherman, M4 Sherman, which is like the workhorse of the American armored forces.
Mm-hmm.
And the little guys, the little small little 1/35th scale dudes. I wish my eyesight wasn't going bad because it's so hard
Yeah,
to
they're
pay
so
them.
small. Yeah.
But I don't work anymore, so I
Yeah.
can't work because of my physical, mess ups that have just gotten me to the point where, I had an operation on my foot not too long ago to close up a wound that had been open on my foot for a couple of years. It wouldn't heal. So I had to have an operation. So I was off my feet for a long time. You just get so weak when you don't get up and move. And I'm
Right.
needing to get up and move more, but this just keeps me from going insane.
Sure.
It's got to do something. And I love doing it. I did it before, like I said, before I got into playing music and being in Gwar, and then kind of found it recently, again, a few years back, just out of, not being able to do anything anymore. Kind of revisited my love for scale modeling.
Do you feel like
stack? I see that stack behind me.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Those are all unbuilt model kits. I've got a stack here. Let me show you. Takes up the
Holy
whole
crap.
wall of this room.
How long is that going to take you to put together?
I'll be dead.
Yeah.
I'll be dead before I get halfway through with them, probably.
But it's a good goal.
Yeah. I've got a lot of ideas, but just not a
Sure.
lot of time to work with. But I do, like I said, I do the best I can do every day, and just trying to get a little bit better. I know the doctor looked at me and said, I don't know why you're alive in the hospital after the first time I went in there. And so I guess God still wants me to be around for something.
Yeah. Well, we got to do this interview at least,
Hey, there you go.
Do you feel like growing up in Richmond and like the history of war and everything there has like helped spark that interest, or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing about Richmond that's kind of really sad is that, I don't know anything about your political beliefs, and it doesn't really matter, but
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they tore all the statues down there, it's just because they were Confederate generals. It's I don't know. I understand why they think that it was something righteous, but that took a little bit of,
Well, they're putting them
away.
somewhere else, aren't they?
Well, they destroyed some of
Oh.
them.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have put them somewhere else because, those things were incredible works of art. And,
Right.
I mean, I grew up my whole life seeing them, never subscribed to any of the ideology behind
Mm-hmm.
what they did in history, but also don't think that we should be erasing history for people's feelings. You know what I mean? It's like, if you don't remember what's happened in the past, then I'm sure you've heard it. You're destined to repeat it.
Mm.
And unfortunately, it seems like that's happening a lot in the world today. It's like people forget, what happened, and there's a lot of bad shit going on around
Well,
the
yeah,
world.
we need some we need some education so people do remember and
and not
and why we think the way we should be
not
thinking now.
indoctrinated education too.
Right,
Some
right.
education that people learn and stop believing propaganda on both sides,
Right,
all
right.
sides, and start investigating things. Like people are interviewed for asking them questions about basic stuff, and they're like ignorant. People don't know. And you go to college for what?
Mm-hmm.
So to spend your life paying the debt
Mm-hmm.
off. It's like, I don't understand, people that don't have any idea what the Constitution is, or what war in history was, and who did we fight against in in World War II. Oh, was that the Vietnamese? You see some interviews sometimes on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a guy asking these questions on the street to people, and they're like, they have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of amazing to me that people can, like live in a bubble. People died. My father was a veteran. He fought in World War II. He was a medic
Mm.
because he didn't want to carry a gun because he didn't want to shoot anybody. He didn't want to kill anybody, but he helped men to live that were
Wow.
wounded. And he lost his eye. He got hit in the face by a piece of shrapnel, and it knocked his eye out. And he had a glass eye and stuff, but he made it back. And people that spit on the memory of, veterans like my dad and a lot of other World War II veterans and people that have fought in other wars, I think it's kind of disgraceful, that they're doing that and they don't even know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And, they believe something some professor told them about, who's, I don't know. It's just kind of messed up, the whole situation, and then people killing each other. It's really sucks.
Yeah.
Gwar always kind of made fun of that stuff
Right.
because of the horrificness of it.
I was going to say there's actually a song on the new album about the statues in Richmond coming to life and like fighting. I think they wrote that before they tore them down, which was ironic because it didn't come out until afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know. You call me old school or whatever. I just don't understand how people can, do some of the things they're doing. It's like you can't change what happened. America was the way America was. The whole world has been the way the whole world has been. The United States didn't create all the problems in the world. It's like people have been enslaving people and murdering people and fighting wars since people have been on this earth.
Sure.
And it's like you can't blame everything on the country that you live in just because it's the country that you live in,
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like a lot more people in America today hate America. Just can't understand that concept. It's like you don't even have to like everything.
Mm-hmm.
They should recognize the good things and the bad things that have happened, but to try to erase history is kind of messed up.
How do you, I guess this relating back to Richmond, but how do you feel about Gwar probably being one of the most famous things to ever come out of Richmond?
I think it's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
and I guess
They deserve it. I mean, I'm glad I was a little part of it. You
yeah,
know, that's a thing, and it's it's
we'll
kind of
start to
cool.
land this plane, but like yeah, going on that, like how do you feel about the legacy of Gwar? You know, and
Hey, rock on, dude. Take it as far as you can.
mhm,
It- everybody's got to pay the piper someday, right? So
mhm,
sail that boat until she don't sail no more.
right.
It's the kind of thing that can be probably passed on.
Well, I guess this is somewhat related, but Jimmy wants to know what are your thoughts on Americanize? It's his favorite song of all time,
Oh yeah,
and
it's
love the leads. That's you.
perfect. It's a statement. It's a
Hmm.
statement about all the crazy stuff we was just talking about.
Yeah.
The drugs and the commercialism and the corporate greed and the lies that propagated that people to hate each other, because the more people they can separate into groups and get fighting and bickering and throwing bricks at each other, the more money they make off of it. And it's like you know kind of
Hmm.
disgusting. And that's what Americanized is all about, is like you know America's way much more than that. It's but that's a song that just kind of like, take a look at this and see
Hmm.
all the things that are going on in the world. And it's like you know
You think it's still
laughing at,
relevant today?
yeah, hell
I
yeah, of
mean,
course
you
it
guys
is.
wrote that song over 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, because you see this stuff in Richmond and little towns and big towns, and it's like, it seems like it's gotten even crazier and worse.
Yeah, I think
We need
so.
to come
Yeah.
together, not rip each other apart. And it,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Right.
That's just one of the things. Unfortunately, it's probably always going to be the way it is. But I
And
don't want to hate anybody, but I
sure.
just hate seeing what happens to people, innocent people especially.
Nicole wants to know, didn't you also work on Ham on the Bone before it was put on America Must Be Destroyed? Did you work on that song at all?
I might have. I
I think
might
it's
have worked on.
credited to Dave Brocky's solo, solely, but I'm sure you added something
Well,
to
and
it.
dude, I'm like I said, we'd get together and make. Hey, this is a riff. I thought,
Hmm.
hey, that sounds good. Throw it in there.
Hmm.
There's so many little things like that. Like, you know, I, I probably wrote little bits to a lot of songs.
Hmm.
Ones that mainly I can think of are on Hello,
Hmm.
because that's when I was like, I was just so into everything that we did, and like I was writing music for you know, White Cross and Unseen Force and then Gwar. So I was into
Hmm.
trying to, make art back then
Have you written
more.
any songs since you left Gwar?
Not really.
Oh
Um,
man, you got
I,
ideas? I mean, do the
yeah,
riffs come
yeah,
to you in your head
I,
or?
I pushed some things around in my brain, but
Yeah,
I think life just caught it to me in a bad way. So it's like not the most forefront thing in my thinking about writing music today.
sure. Well, if you ever get a new computer, the technology is there where it's pretty simple to make this stuff at home now.
Yeah, I've
Just
noticed
just
that.
putting
I've seen
that
a
out
lot.
there, like, I'd love to hear what you got in your head in some
Cool.
form. I'm, produce music, so if you ever
Well, that's
shoot
all.
me a riff,
Yeah,
maybe we could
man.
do something with it.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. Is there anything I missed? Is there anything that you want to talk, like, in the Gwar history that needs to be, so like, I know you haven't seen the documentary, but what I always say is I started this show to kind of fill in all the gaps, because
Right.
my biggest problem with the documentary is that I didn't get to make it. So this is kind of my contribution, and we've already had almost, an hour and a half of just you talking, and you're not even in the
Well,
fucking documentary.
yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I understand your point. Um,
There's just too much Gwar history to push into 2 hours or less, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories and some things I'll never probably repeat again in my whole entire life. But I don't know.
Now or
Not.
forever hold your peace.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of cool stuff and a lot of sketchy stuff and
Yeah.
um,
In
some
a good way
scary
or a
stuff.
bad way, or I guess both.
Both,
Yeah.
I mean, it's exhilarating to be close to death. Like I said, flying down the mountain and hearing a drive train drop out of a school bus,
Oof.
a 71 International Harvester school bus, and hoping the brakes don't give out. It was a steep mountain we were coming out of too. It's like coming down a mountain. Wow. I was like, God, please don't let us die in a flaming bus crash.
Give me a well, like how old were you when you were in Gwar? Like how old were you when you were touring?
I was born in '62, so
so you were about just late 20s, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah, left in like 91,
Mhm.
late 91, I think.
Well, does anyone have any last minute questions here? Gwar Slave says everyone has a Glenn Danzig story.
I never met Danzig. I remember seeing him, but he just wasn't hanging out. He was too cool to hang out with us, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was his too cool phase for sure.
Yeah. I've seen some stuff with him, interviews and different things.
Yeah.
I think age has a way of
I think he's
equalizing.
lightened up a little bit. Yeah. I think he knows that I'm hoping he knows that he's part of the joke now, like
Yeah.
he's funny. I don't know if he realized how funny he was until more recently.
Jello Biafra too. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he was a big fan of Gwar and Death Piggy, right? Did you
Yeah, the Dead Kennedys. That's a show worth mentioning. The Dead
did you play with the Dead
Kennedys.
Kennedys?
Yeah, we did a White Cross actually.
With White Cross?
Yep, it was at the Mosque Ballroom in Richmond, and man, that was a great show. A lot of energy, lots of people. It was a fun show.
Nice.
That was a good one.
So were there other bands that you were in at all that I missed? And there was just those three?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've started jamming with some other people, but never really formed or put any real songs together with them. But
My brother has a question, although I think we may have answered this a little bit. Do you still have your old rig?
No.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit before if you missed it.
Unfortunately, all my equipment is just, I might still be playing if I had stuff. I'd lost everything and then actually got.
So somebody get this guy a guitar. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, man, buy me a Les Paul. Come on.
All right. Hey, if anyone has a Les Paul laying around, send it.
A couple grand.
Yeah.
And a Marshall stack, JCM 800 with 412s with a Marshall 412 archtop cabinet. The one that the top leans back, not a straight face, but
Is that what you use for Scumdogs?
Yeah, I had two. I think I had a stack of Marshalls cabinets and some other crazy cabinets that I put together with some crazy, super powerful EV speakers in it. It's like I used to kind of like building equipment and stuff too.
Nice.
I liked it to be able to vibrate the whole place. It was like feeding back.
Yeah. You had some gnarly sounds for sure. Nicole wants to know, or he is saying, I've listened to the albums Dewey worked on since I was 15 years old. I'm 50 now. Your music has been unbelievably important to me. You are by no means a blip in Gwar history. You were so important. Thank you. I agree. You were part of probably the most important part of their development.
Well, thank you. That's
Scumdogs of the universe. I got to show you this thing at least. Have you seen this at all?
No.
Oh my God! Let me show you this thing. This is the remixed, remastered. Is do you see these new photos they dug up, or not new, but alternate?
Yep, that stupid helmet.
There's I guess this is from Live from Antarctica, I think. Let's
Very
see.
cool. That's nice.
Dude, yeah, you gotta get one of these. It's fucking
Yep,
pretty dope.
slaves.
This is
Yeah.
there's a whole book in here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like photos and flyers, and I mean, look at there you
Yep.
are. Do you
Yeah,
remember
man.
this?
Yep.
Do you remember
that's
anything
cool.
about this sword? This was your weapon, right?
Yeah, that was Dave's sword. I was just holding it.
Gotcha.
That's the proof right there.
Well, what is that? What is that?
Look on the picture.
Oh. Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, there's your tattoo right there.
That's it right there.
And there's the helmet that you hated so much.
I
right?
hated that helmet. It was very cool looking, but man, it was like you could just drive that sucker, grab the horns, and take your head anywhere you wanted to go with it. It was like totally unwieldy and no balance. It was just like having a cinder block sitting on top of your head.
And it has the demos on it too, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, the Years Without Light demo, recorded by Adam Green.
That's cool, man.
You remember Adam Green? I was talking about the other Adam Green with someone the other day. Not the Adam Green who did Holliston, but the Adam Green who recorded bands in Richmond, right?
Yeah. Very cool. That's a nice set.
It's
man.
a very beautiful piece of work here.
Yeah.
And of
very
course,
cool.
you know, I got all this, you know, you're all over the place. I got pictures of you all over my room.
Well, I'm truly humbled. Thank you. I appreciate
Well, I mean
that.
that image, that cover of Scumdogs, it's like the iconic image of Gwar, like forever.
Yeah, man.
Do you remember that
Yep.
photo shoot at all?
Yeah, that was fun. Yep.
All right.
Used to have a good time.
Hey, oh, Gwar Kid from the Jerry Springer Show is here. What's up? What's up? Yeah, that was in like a couple years after you left.
Yeah.
Do you remember did you watch it on TV? Were you like, oh my God?
I loved it when he got eaten by the worm.
Oh yeah. The world maggot.
Was it the meat grinder or the worm that
Yeah, it
ate
was
him?
the world maggot, yeah.
Yeah.
Were there I think I asked this before, but like was there any like, well, I kind of asked this as a side project question, but within Gwar, were there any ideas that you remember like kind of floating around that were cool that never got materialized?
Not really.
Not really, yeah.
Yeah, just man, other than my own character, all the creative stuff was, you know, Hunter, Dave, Draculich, you know, other artists,
Varga.
Mike Bonner, Scott, Chuck Varga, all those guys were like, they was out of their minds, and my contribution was in music as much as I had to put in my own little character development and this is what I think my character should be, and you know, things that made me feel like I could move comfortably and still do my job playing guitar without too much impediment. But yeah, I give all the credit for that to those guys. They're just on a whole nother class. So it's good to see them doing different stuff. You know.
Yeah, I highly recommend their new record if you want to check it out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
I might do
that.
that.
Painful enough to listen to, you know.
After talking to you about it, I probably will.
Yeah, well, you know, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Sean from the Jerry Springer Show says Scumdogs had some of the nastiest rips Gwar has put out.
Wow, thanks, dude.
It's true, man. There's some killer rips on that record. I mean, Salamanizer, Jesus, it just, you know, sometimes I listen to that song as if I've never heard it before, just to like try to get back into that mindset. And it's just like an album starting with that. You gotta listen to the remix remastered. It's just like it hits you so hard. It's like listening to it for the first time.
That's cool. My power's almost dead.
I think this is the end.
Yeah.
He wants to know if you're doing anything artistically or musically these days. Well, just those miniatures, right?
Not yet, but it's never too late to start. Yeah, the miniatures. That's my jam today, is just doing modeling and scale models. And airplanes and tanks and history stuff, World War II mostly.
Well, I am thrilled. Thank you so much for doing this. It's too bad we didn't get our videos and slideshow, but I think we still made this work. Yeah, if you're coming in late, this looks a little weird because we're actually on a Facebook call because our streaming platform wasn't really working out for us. So that's why there's two of me. You can't see this, but there's two of me on the screen and one of you. And it's just a little different than usual. And that's why.
Cool.
Yeah, but we made it work. And I think this
I'm
was a
glad
very
you made it
important
work.
conversation to have.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it work.
I hope
man.
I didn't hit any landmines or,
No, dude.
hope it was all good.
You're good. You're totally cool. Appreciate it.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, hit me up if you listen to, or if you watch the documentary. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too.
Definitely will, brother. Definitely will.
And I don't have any shows booked right now, but you know where to find me at GWARPod on all the things. Linktree, GWARPod. I'm easy to find. If you're in Pennsylvania, go see Green Jelly, man. Come see Green Jelly this weekend.
It's just up the street, really. PA.
Dude, I'll be there this weekend.
Yeah.
Allentown,
Pittsburgh.
Hallam, and no, I think I'm gonna Pittsburgh.
Like an hour away.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna miss that show, but maybe I'll be there. Let's see if they can convince me to go on tour an extra day, because that's like an extra 3 hours away from where I have to drive back.
Right.
But if you're gonna be there, I'll make it work.
Probably not.
Probably not. We're playing.
Man.
But if anyone's in that area, they're playing at the Hard Rock Cafe in Pittsburgh on Sunday. So
cool.
All right.
Support them. Support the jelly.
Yes, it's great because you are a dinosaur and I'm a dinosaur. I'm Kevin the dinosaur in green jelly, so I wear a little dinosaur costume. But it's all like a funny one piece, not like elaborate like yours.
Awesome, brother.
Cool, man. Well, thank you so much. You guys keep I don't have any shows to promote except just follow me so you know what's coming.
All right. I appreciate you, man. I'll keep in touch with you.
All right. Thank you so much, brother.
All right.
All right. Dewey Rowell, the original Flattus Maximus. Yes, we got him. All right, guys. I'm going to sign off and I'll see you later.
Peace.